Hello, everyone here? Welcome to JBuck Live. We are waiting for the stream to start soon. Please let me know you're in the chat. Alright, guys, we're like 30 seconds in, so you know what that means? The good old intro. What's going on, everybody? Hopefully this is working fine and fair and well, and let's do this, JBuck Live. What's going on, everybody? It is episode 3 of JBuck Live, the weekly live show covering movie news, shenanigans, comedy sketches, commercial breaks, and any other weird things I come up with. Hopefully everyone's week is going well. What have you guys been up to? Positive things, movies you've been watching in this weird quarantine time. We have some people in the chat jumping in already. Thank you guys for joining us for this third episode. I mean, we haven't been canceled yet, so that's great. YouTube hasn't copywritten this video yet. I'll get into that with my quickies thing. But kind of, you know, let's start on a positive note. What's kind of like something positive that's been going on in all of your guys' lives? Let me know in the chat. Personally, for myself, this is kind of a hobbled together episode because 1, we don't have that much movie news, but 2 is I just haven't been feeling too motivated because I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. That came out like a couple days ago, and I started playing it like 2 days ago, like at 10:30 at night, and I've already put about 14 hours into the game. So within like almost a 2-day period, I put 14 hours into the game, and I'm definitely going to be playing that after this as well. So some of the commercial breaks you might see are going to be duplicates. That's what this show is. It's like you're watching commercials on the TV. You're going to get bored of those commercials, but you know what? That's what it's going to be. But yeah, I've definitely been playing Final Fantasy VII so much that it's been getting ridiculous, which the thing is, I haven't played a video game that much since probably Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Like that was the one game that I probably played last. God, I don't even know when that came out though. That was a while ago. I love what Final Fantasy VII is doing right now, though. If people are fans of Final Fantasy or any of these games, like you are sucked into this game. Like it's nostalgic. It looks amazing. Everything about this game is just scratching that itch that I've been waiting for. Cody in the chat says his girlfriend, he hasn't seen her because she's been playing Final Fantasy VII as well. Yes, I am probably going to reach out to her and see if she wants to do a podcast about it, because that's about what I've been doing. Is I only have gotten up from the couch to essentially eat and drink and sleep. Otherwise, I've just been right there on the couch playing Final Fantasy VII. But that's been crazy. But then also I've been jumping into just streaming movies on Netflix and just random weird things, which we can get into later in the Ask Me Anything at the very end. But I watched 2002's The Ring, and I've never seen this movie. I watched it last night, and I was under the impression that this movie was like one of the scariest movies ever. Like, I mean, it came out when I was like in middle school, so I remember people talking about this movie, all these people like, oh my gosh, it's so scary, we screamed and the phone rang and blah blah blah. I watched it last night. It's just very campy and fun and ridiculous, and it just doesn't feel like, I don't know, we can get into it later, but I just feel like horror, just like comedy, has changed over the years where certain things just aren't as funny anymore. Samuel One World, what's going on, Samuel? The Fast and Furious, yeah. Seth and Cody, Fast and Furious all the way. Mark Escobar, what's going on, my man? Welcome to the show. Obviously, the main topic, again, news is fairly slow for kind of big stories. Obviously, we have a bunch of things to get into the quickies portion of the show. But the main topic is going to be Dune and the new images that they released, and sort of my thoughts on kind of what's going to come of that movie. Obviously, if you haven't seen the screenshots, you are in store for a great surprise. But if you have seen the screenshots, you know exactly what I'm going to be talking about. Yeah, don't watch the Ring sequels. Okay, I won't watch the Ring sequels, but yeah, see, that's the thing is, I watched Scary Movie 3 before the Ring, and I think that's what made it way less scary than what I had been anticipating. Again, like The Grudge and The Ring and Saw, they all kind of came out in the early 2000s area, and I remember I watched a couple of them, and they scared the bejesus out of me back then. Again, I was young, naive, I didn't know what to expect, and those scared me and very much scarred me. But going back and rewatching those films, it just feels goofy. They very much feel goofy and fun, and also, you can tell that there was a style of early 2000s just filmmaking in general, but also horror films, like this colored tinting of like this greenish, almost like the Matrix, like how the Matrix is colored. That's how the whole Ring movie is colored, and I'm just thinking, this is so drab and dreary and blech. It just doesn't look good at all. Let's see here. We got Rings. That was soft serve Dookie. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be staying away from Rings for sure. Did the TV also leak in the Ring? Well, see, that's the thing is, I don't know if some of you guys in the chat maybe haven't watched The Ring, but I feel like that the iconic shot of her crawling out of the TV, spoilers, that doesn't happen until like the very last, like 5 minutes of the movie. I thought that this was going to happen multiple times in the movie and just kind of show glimpses, and then obviously the very end would pay off and we'd get a full-blown, like, look at her crawling out of the TV, but it just... It doesn't, I don't think it holds up. Again, I am far from a horror fan. I'm getting more and more into horror. But yeah, it just did not stand up at all. Tyler says, Rings hurt me on an emotional and spiritual level. I will definitely stay away from that then. But let's just get into the show. Obviously, the sidebar, you see what's going on over here. Right there. Quickies, Dune images, Ask Me Anything, and then some things obviously coming up on the channel. And last week we premiered the new Quickies section sounder graphic. YouTube instantly hit me with a copyright claim for that, so we had to go back and rework it a little bit. Hopefully it still is up to your standards, but without further ado, let's get into the Quickies portion. Hopefully my mouse doesn't die. The Quickies portion of the show. All right, we are in the Quickies portion, that gross, fun sounder and everything like that. Hopefully that definitely has the essence of the first one. Again, that song that I had in the background of the first one last week, unfortunately, copyright claimed for that. But let's get into some quick news, kind of some things that are on the surface. Again, movie news and entertainment news is very sparse right now. But just a few things that I came across. I was a big fan of Atomic Blonde. I think 2017, 2018, I want to say it was 2017. Very much a fan of that movie. Charlize Theron, Sofia Boutella, they had a nice relationship. But Charlize Theron kicking ass in that movie. And apparently there's rumor, maybe there's a script. I don't know exactly. It was just kind of rumored that there's a sequel in development. And if we can get a sequel to this badass woman just kicking ass, I mean, if you haven't seen that film, very much recommend checking out Atomic Blonde, because not only is it like this 80s flavor of badass and Charlize just kicking ass, but it has some great 80s music, like Blue Monday is in that the movie. That was one that really stuck out to me, but it's very stylized. And there's one scene that Charlize Theron, like, you can tell that the characters are exhausted. So yeah, very much recommend checking out the first one. I guess there's a sequel coming up, so I'm very much a really nice relationship scene between those two. Yeah, they definitely have a sex scene, Sophia Boutella and Charlize Theron. But a sequel coming out, I'm very much excited for that, looking forward to that. So there was this discarded Mouse Guard movie, and I guess it was coming from Disney or something else like that. But it's like these mice, and it's medieval, and it looked great. It got scrapped, but some like behind the scenes prototype footage or whatever came out, I don't know, like 6 months to a year ago. Anyways, that is based on a graphic novel or comic book series called Boom Comic Book, and I guess or Boom Brand, and the publisher actually got a deal with Netflix. So Netflix and this Boom Publishing, again, Mouse Guard is only one property that they have. They have a bunch of other properties. So I'm kind of curious if that Mouse Guard movie or prototype or anything that they had, those assets, somehow come to Netflix, because that would be great. It very much reminded me of a cartoon on PBS or IPTV when I was very young. In the afternoon. It was called Redwall, and it was like mice and other kind of like little weird animals and birds and stuff, and fighting in medieval, kind of almost like a Robin Hood, again, medieval setting. If anyone has seen that Redwall, definitely let me know. But let me know if you're excited for this this Mouse Guard type thing. I'm very yes, Daniel, perfect. You just said that Redwall TV show. That is it is made perfectly for that. They need to do something like that. Going on to some other news, the Disney. I know last week I mentioned some of the switch ups and whatnot of Disney and the release schedule, and they moved all of their movies, but Soul was still set for July, to come out in July. They have moved that to replace Raya and the Dragon movie. I don't know the full title of that. My apologies there. But they moved that to November. And I think November 20th being a release date for Soul is probably a better spot, because animated Pixar coming around Thanksgiving. It's also music, and musicals do well around that time. So yeah, Soul, definitely a different release time for that. A new platform or app or whatever called Quibi. Is anyone watching or on this Quibi app? Please let me know in the comments or chat, because this Quibi app was released and I've seen a couple commercials for it, and honestly, I think it's just content made for people that are waiting for the bus or on the toilet at work, because I guess it's like 10-minute episodes of shows or 10-minute segments of movies. I don't know. I read into it and it just sounds very like, I don't know why this is essentially a thing. And then the content that's on there, I guess they have something that's like the most dangerous game, like the younger Hemsworth is getting hunted by someone. I don't know. Quibi, yeah, basically that's the thing. Is, I don't know. It's an app. People are watching it, I guess. I don't know. Let's see here. If you are missing out on movies, let's see here. Toilet shows. Quibi is for people with no attention span. Yeah, Tyler, that's definitely kind of what I factored into it. It's almost like short form, because YouTube videos are even longer than 10 minutes. It is like very much short form television that people don't have time for. But yeah, if you're taking a mean dump at work and need a show to watch, 10 minutes, boom, you're getting paid. You know what we call that in the business? We call that a corporate dump, because you were getting paid to shit. You were shitting on their time. Going over to the movie theaters, though. I know people very much missing the movie theaters. All of you guys in the chat, myself personally, I am very much missing that movie theater experience. And unfortunately, one of the stories that I had last week was the kind of bad financial position that AMC is in currently. And there hasn't been really an update for AMC specifically, but a lot of the movie theaters or the movie theater chains, there's a rumor that apparently movie theaters, they won't open back up. And again, this is rumor. Who knows what's going to happen? But right now, they are not going to open up until late July. So looking at the calendar. Excuse me, I burped there. Looking at the calendar, we have another 3 months, unfortunately, of this weird streaming only, watching Netflix movies that are very much hit or miss. But what do you guys think of that late July opening for theaters? I know that a lot of people are, if they do open in July, obviously I'm going to be there night one. But they also mentioned that if they do open, they are not going to have new movies for another like 2 months, because I think the biggest new release coming out is Wonder Woman in August. So like it'd be a month until we have another movie. So I don't know. It's kind of disheartening news to hear that they won't be open till July, but also you got to be safe, everything like that. Okay, I'm looking over to the chat. So wait, oh my gosh, no. Quibi, going back to that whole Quibi story, apparently what people in the chat are saying, it's shot in the vertical format like this. Oh my gosh, how could you watch a show in that format? That just sounds absolutely bonkers. No, I don't want that at all. So aside from that, movie theaters being closed until later, showing Bloodshot again in July would be actually really funny to do. But then I was looking up another thing, and obviously movie theaters, movie studios, everything like that, there's no movies in the movie theater. How do we make people essentially get that feeling of going to the movies again? And Lionsgate is doing something kind of fun, kind of a promotional thing, and it's also raising money for a good cause of people being affected by the coronavirus. But for the next 4 Friday nights on YouTube, Lionsgate is streaming 4 different films, 4 of their films for people to enjoy. It's going to be hosted by some, I guess, YouTube personalities. I don't know what that means, but also Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be there. So if you're a fan of The Hunger Games, La La Land, John Wick, or Dirty Dancing, the next 4 Friday nights on YouTube, those are going to be showing on, I'm assuming, Lionsgate's YouTube page. I will probably update this or tweet it out or something like that. But yeah, if you want to watch, if you don't have any of those movies, they're kind of not streaming anywhere, and you don't want to rent them, jump over to YouTube. I'm sure that there's going to be a live chat so you can, roast the movie if you want, or very much enjoy the film with other people. I don't know. It's kind of interesting, to see just kind of see how different studios, everyone is kind of reacting to, again, this weird time that we're in, and kind of helping us out in that situation. Continuing with the quickies, we have another, I'm going to get to Tiger King in a little bit, but one more quick thing is, I guess, yeah, definitely. Hey, everyone tweet out to Lionsgate and get me on as a YouTube personality to help host the movies. Disney Plus. Disney Plus is a service. Obviously, everyone has it. They have it without even knowing that they have it. It just was released, a bigger release over in the UK probably 2 weeks ago. And there's some startling news that obviously they've gone back and sort of edited a handful of their movies that maybe aren't too fitting for the platform. I know, for example, myself, I noticed that Motocrossed, like, this is a rights thing, but the opening song of my favorite Disney Channel original movie, Motocrossed, they took that out because they did not have the rights for it. But Disney Plus, I guess, is in hot water because they used this CG fur effects on the butt of someone from the movie Splash. And I don't know if anyone has seen this. I have a clip. I am going to show this, but there's going to be the original one, and then there's going to be the one with the fur, and the digital fur, it's straight up like Cats, borderline nightmare type stuff. So, like, let's jump into this Disney Splash clip, and the one on the left, that's what you're going to look for. Look on the left. Look at this fur. Look at that fur technology. It might be tough to see. I might have to play it again for you guys, but look at this weird fur technology that they put, or try to like blur or try to censor this Disney movie. Like, someone was watching it, they noticed it, but the thing is, the weird thing is, there's still other things in movies. It seems very weird because Disney is almost kind of like picking certain things to take out or rework or change. It's weird. It's definitely weird. Let me know what you guys think of that whole situation, because I came across that and I laughed very hard at this weird kind of fur technology. I mean, it kind of looks real, but it looks so goofy looking. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just watch that again because it was freaking weird. I don't like it. Here comes the furt. Yeah, release the butthole cut. Look at that. Weird, weird, weird. But wait for that clip to go. Yeah, release the butthole cut instead of the fur butt cut. I mean, I don't know. I was gonna make a funny Photoshop about what they did to censor her front, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. When did Tom Hooper join the chat? Last thing for the quickies is Tiger King. So Tiger King, I mentioned last week that there's going to potentially be another episode, and it's more of an interview. It's more of a kind of where are they now type show. And I listened to, I watched it earlier. It's quick 40 minutes. So if you've watched Tiger King, let me know if you've watched this bonus episode. I watched it today. It's hosted by Joel McHale, I believe. And he just kind of goes on essentially a Skype call or FaceTime with a handful of the people on the show. And it's not needed. And it almost makes me dislike everything else that happened in it a lot, because when I was watching the documentary, it felt like a movie. Like, I'm like, none of this is real, it doesn't exist, blah, blah, blah. But then, like, going through these interviews, you realize these are real people, and they're dealing with, like, real shit. Like, none of them are really, like, happy to be doing this interview type thing. They just kind of agreed upon it, and they're still like, oh yeah, fuck that guy, or I hope he burns in hell, and they don't like censor any of it. So if you want an extra little bit of Tiger King, jump over to Netflix, check that out. For myself, it lost the luster of everything, and it was almost like, this is real now. Like, this is an actual thing. One thing though, the one dude with like the 3 teeth, and they were saying that he's on meth, I think John Finley, he is completely unrecognizable. He has real teeth now. He was wearing glasses. He has like a Amish like goatee type thing. It is definitely strange. So jump over and check that out if you were a fan of Tiger King and want even more from that and that show and everything. So that is going to round out the quickies. Oh, one last thing. Sam Raimi, I guess, is all but confirmed. I guess it came out today that he is 99%. It's not 100%, I guess, that he is directing Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. So I think that's kind of old news or reinforcing news out there. What do you guys think of Sam Raimi directing Doctor Strange 2? Are you guys excited for that? Looking forward to it? I'm curious if with that Multiverse of Madness, he will somehow able to like throw a cameo of Andrew Garfield or something like that. I think that would just be crazy if they somehow tied those older movies in, somehow get like a cameo going through a portal and they just see him. I think that would just be a nice little added touch and almost like a tribute or whatever to the old, what he did with, essentially kind of kicking off the essentially like modern era of comic book films. I mean, before that, it was all kind of cheesy and goofy and whatnot. But yeah, Sam Raimi, he does great horror stuff. And, you guys in the chat are saying, like, give me this. I want it now. Give me this Sam Raimi Doctor Strange movie. So yeah, I don't know. I guess he is in the driver's seat for that. Who knows with all of these delays and everything that's going on, when we will actually get that movie, let alone Spider-Man 3 and all of that stuff. But that is the quickies. If no one has anything else or comments or anything of that, then we can move out of this segment and I will play the quickies sounder. All right. So that is our quickies. And again, we don't have much news today, so I'm going to throw it to the first commercial break right now, and we will be right back after these messages. Can you guess the movie quote?
Cindy! TV's leaking!
Let's hear it one more time.
Cindy! The TV's leaking!
It's 2003's Scary Movie 3. And now it's time for the best moments from the JBuck Avengers Endgame watch-along. That was the best moments from the JBuck Avengers Endgame watch-along. Looking for the best electronics in town? Head down to Bob Lyons Electronics. At Bob Lyons, our prices are wild.
Ooh-wee! Bob Lyon here from Bob Lyons Electronics, and you see this 32-inch Panasonic TV at $199, we're slashing that down to $179. What about this Sony Walkman EX1WM at $80? We're gonna give that one to you for $74. What about this Motorola Pager at $135? We're gonna give it to you for $120 with 3 months free financing. Or this Panasonic video cassette player at a whopping $320. We're slashing that price. We're killing that price down to $270 just for you. Remember, I'm Bob Lyons. Head down to Bob Lyons Electronics today because all prices are wild.
Located at the corner of Walnut and Cherry, prices shown do not include taxes, rebates, or any other additions. Items may or may not have fallen off of a truck. Legally binding disclaimer, shop Bob Lyons.
All right, and we are back after the commercial break. Thank you guys so much for sticking around. Hopefully you loved those commercials and weird gags that I throw together between these segments. But let's get into essentially the main topic of this show. And, there was Dune is coming out this year. A big movie, huge movie, tons and tons of people. I'll get to the cast and all of the components that make that up in a little bit, but it is coming out on December 18th, so Christmas time. Huge sci-fi epic. This is based on a huge like a novel series and everything like that. Dune. So Dune, they tried, people love it. People that are in it love it. They tried to make a movie, or they did make a movie in 1984. It essentially got a cult classic. People love it. It's amongst people's favorite stuff that are fans of the novels, but there's also like headbutting and whatnot. Anyways, what I'm getting at is this film is coming out at the end of this year, and finally we got not only the title, but we also got quite a few screenshots and stills from the movie. And while I'm talking about this, I'll throw up some of the pictures so you guys can see, and I don't know if any of you guys haven't seen these yet, but they look phenomenal. So these are going to be just pictures and stills that they've released from this movie so far. But let's just work this down. So this Dune movie, based on this huge sci-fi epic, people are saying that it's Star Wars for adults. It has a lot going for it, and it's coming out around Christmas. It's from the director Denis Villeneuve, which his films, they look phenomenal, and they are very well received as well. I'm a big fan of his films, from Prisoners to Sicario to Arrival. Arrival is absolutely bananas. And then Blade Runner 2049. 2049 wasn't the biggest fan of. It looks beautiful, like absolutely gorgeous, the visuals. All of these films that I mentioned look amazing via the visuals. And also from these screenshots of this new Dune film, it looks amazing. It looks like a grand epic scale type movie. The costuming, the characters, the landscapes, the setting, it has all of the ingredients for essentially what they want out of this movie, to build a franchise, this sci-fi epic hitting around Christmas time. Not only what I just mentioned about all of those pieces of the puzzle, but also the composer is Hans Zimmer. It's coming out around Christmas. And the cast. The cast is absolutely bananas, because we have Rebecca Ferguson, we have Timothy Chalamet Ding Dong, we have Jason Momoa, Josh Brolin, Javier Bardem, so many different people. I'm probably even missing people from that list, because I feel like, Oscar Isaac right there. Obviously, his image just popped up. But these look amazing. Yes, Tyler in the chat says Jason Momoa without a beard just feels wrong. Yes, I didn't even notice that was him until someone made that comment. But again, it's based on this novel series that's very much beloved. 1984 had the cult classic or a cult following from that film, and they also tried to do a 2000s mini series on Sci-Fi Network, and I don't know how well received that was. But then the plot, like reading into it, it sounds like it's very much like, I wouldn't say complicated, but a little inside baseball for some people, because it's like this spice and it's this sci-fi world, and there's like this planet, and the spice makes you have like borderline superhuman human abilities. You can live forever. And it's kind of this dueling type thing. Yes, Zendaya for sure is in this as well. It should be illegal for Zendaya to have blue eyes. Yeah, she looks beautiful as that. But what I'm getting at is all of these pieces of the puzzle coming in into effect is it. I guess what I'm getting at is all of these pieces of the puzzle. Is it going to be, I'm trying to phrase this the right way. So what I'm saying is this should make a fuck ton of money. Like this movie, all of the pieces there, from the director to the composer to the source material to the cast and just the visuals of these first images that were released. Like this movie should make an ass ton of money at the box office. But is this going to be a thing where the casual fan, unfortunately, all of you guys in the chat, actually let me know if you've ever seen Dune, if you've ever read Dune, if anything about Dune jumps out at you. For myself, I've never watched it. I tried to watch the 84 version, but it just felt weird. I wasn't in the right mindset, and I never came back to it. So maybe I need to go give that another shot. But what I'm saying is, are they sinking all of this money into this property, into these directors, into all of these pieces, the cast, to make this movie that's not going to get its money back at the box office? Is it going to break even? Is it going to make $1 bajillion and be the next sci-fi epic? I want to hear what you guys kind of think about this, because on my thinking, I think that this is, again, I don't know anything about it. I'm going to go see this, though. The casual fan doesn't know what the hell Dune is. And if you say Dune, they're only going to think of a sand dune, which this takes place in a desert. Perfect. You want them to think about that. And then draw them in with all of the beautiful visuals and everything, kind of what Blade Runner 2049 did. But unfortunately, 2049, it didn't do what it was supposed to at the box office. Again, it looked amazing, and it takes this sci-fi inside baseball type material, but it just didn't get the financial success that they were looking for via the box office. And I'm just curious if this Dune movie is going to fall by the wayside of like movies like John Carter, which that was another sci-fi big epic that essentially had botched marketing. I guess, I don't know. I'm very curious about what is going to happen with this this Dune movie, because looking at those images, hearing about it from people that were working on the movie, it sounds like it's going to be the next huge, wonderful sci-fi epic. But if it doesn't do well, what happens? What happens to that property? Do the nerds or the people that grew up with it or fell into the books and everything like that, do they still have their 84 version, their books, and this miniseries? I don't know. I just think that it's this weird thing where I saw a bunch of people on Twitter talking about it, and they were like, oh no, are you guys going to let this movie fail? And I don't think it's really up to quote unquote hashtag film Twitter to decide whether or not this is going to be a success, because we're very much not the casual fan. Like, I wanted to really call up my family or ask friends if they knew what the hell Dune is, and I did that with Birds of Prey, and a lot of people came back and they didn't know a damn thing about Birds of Prey. So I'm trying to think that it's this weird thing where a small group of people know something. They know about this property and it's theirs. But then when you try to bring it to the masses, it I don't know. Let's jump over to the chat. Yeah, 84 Dune was a financial failure, so I'm sure the version will do much better. I'm not sure this version will do much better. Yeah, I don't know either, Tyler. I'm very curious about this whole situation because, again, they have all the right ingredients. All they have to do is just put the movie in the theater, and I guess I'm glad, Daniel, you just said if the trailers don't go boom, 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 pew, 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 and the money's going to be in the toilet, the first trailer has to fucking wow everyone for this movie to do well. And again, just looking at these images again, I'm going to throw those back up. This looks like an absolutely gorgeous film. Like, these images instantly grab me. Like, the two pictures of Oscar Isaac and Josh Brolin wearing this, like, weird armor, I am 100% on board with that. The weird, like, nose breathing apparatus on the desert planet from Timothy Shamalama Ding Dong, I'm not fully on board with all of that, or I don't know what's going on. But yeah, Cody is saying, I'm afraid that it's either going to be too smart or they'll have to dumb it down. Yeah, I unfortunately that's exactly how I think that this is going to go, because if they leave it and get like completely inside baseball on it, I'm going to go see this movie and maybe I'm going to fall in love with this lore and want more of it. But also if they dumb it down, it feels like it's bashing the source material or those true hardcore fans that grew up with reading all of the novels and everything. I don't know. I guess I'm just really curious because obviously, like, right now is comic book movies are sort of what's running the gambit with what is popular, what is fantastical, what is doing numbers via the box office. I mean, we had a whole fiasco with Birds of Prey, which that's not a financial bust. It just didn't get the numbers that they were looking for or were hoping for. But if you look at Joker and look at Endgame and all of these other properties, MCU movies are phenomenal. But then it's just another thing is, I think that the world of Dune is so unique and different. This is from Cassie Marie. I think the world of Dune is so unique and different that people will want to see this movie. However, I think because of the lore, they'll have to they'll get confused and they'll think it's stupid, quote unquote. Yes, I think unfortunately that's the way it's going to go. Is they're going to try to make it this weird in-between where it's catering to the hardcore fans and then they're trying to get the casual fans in as well. And I don't know. Unfortunately, I'm very much leaning towards the point of this either making its money back but not being a huge financial success. Again, these images look gorgeous, but I don't know. I mean, it's coming out around Christmas. That's going to be a perfect time for this movie. But, I mean, even the title from what I'm saying here is a beautiful box office bust. Like, this is going to be an absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, one of the best looking. Like, this is going to get cinematography notoriety all throughout the year or many years coming. But is it going to make the money? That's what I'm very curious about. Yeah. In the chat, though, let me know what you guys kind of, you guys have sort of been saying what you have been thinking about this. Fanjecture says, I don't know anything about Dune, but these pictures have got me interested. Yes, me too. I saw the one where he looks like he's Kylo Ren with those, like, freighters in the background. That looks very cool. It almost does look like a Kylo Ren origin story, and you can tell that there's definitely some of the imagery is very Star Wars-esque, kind of what it looks like because of the Mandalorian now and also Kylo Ren and a few other things. Movie Files in the chat says it's basically Star Wars meets Game of Thrones, and Denny is my favorite director. I'm in 1,000%. Yes, I am in too, because all of his films, I wouldn't say all of his films. I haven't seen Enemy and 2049, again, I wasn't a big fan of. I haven't rewatched that, but I will say that was a very gorgeous, popping movie. It looked very beautiful on the screen. So no doubt will this movie be gorgeous, and I'm assuming have great acting and some cool, unique situations and ideas and everything that brings it up. I guess, again, kind of going to back what Daniel said and a few other people in the chat, it's got to have one bomb-ass teaser and then one bomb-ass trailer and really play out work the marketing. It's very much on the business side of things now, trying to get everything else does it have any competition? Think of the other Cody right now for Christmas movies. Give me one sec because I know Disney shifted a couple of their releases. I know that oh god, what Christmas movie came out? Someone please let me know. Let's see here. Free Guy might be the only true competition, even though they're not really kind of overlapping. But yeah, the only movie that comes out close to that, and that's a week before, is Free Guy from Disney. And then I don't know what else. I'm sure that there will be a musical or some sort of family type movie. I guess another thing is, like, do you guys think that this is going to stick with that December release date, or do you think that this movie is going to move off? Like, essentially Tenet is going to get moved to December, and then Dune will get moved to almost maybe the next December, or summer blockbuster the next year. I don't know. I'm very curious on what's going to go with that. Yes, thank you, Tyler. He is saying that West Side Story and Top Gun Maverick. So yeah, there is some big heavy hitters hitting around Christmas time, December time, all of that stuff. So I'm kind of, I don't know. Money-wise, I don't know if many people are going to have depending on how long everything, this world is right now, how long it goes on. I don't know how many people are going to have extra monies to go out to all of these different movies. Again, I'm a very much inside fan. I'm not a casual fan of going to the movies, so I'm going to go see this. But the person that goes to 1 to 6 movies like every year, like this is probably not a movie that they're going to go to. Out of Top Gun and West Side Story, I think that those two movies are ones that more of the casual fan is going to go to. Yeah, Movie Files, I'm curious if it's going to be PG-13 or R-rated. Yeah, I'm very curious as well. I don't know if the original was R-rated or PG-13. I think I want to say it's R-rated from the first 30 minutes that I watched of the film, because I think that there's some language in there and whatnot. Yeah, if it's rated R, it's definitely not going to make the monies. Yeah, Cody just jumped in. Thank you, Cody, for saying it's definitely got to be PG-13 to essentially get some of that monies back, because if it's R-rated, you're very much losing a decent portion of your audience. I don't know. Christmas is the worst time because you have the flu. Yeah, the flu. I don't know. Again, I'm curious about this film because I want to see more. I'm sure we'll get a trailer in the next 2 to 3 months. They need to get a trailer out in the next 2 to 3 months, and I guess it just depends, because if this movie does get delayed, it could be a thing where they have even more time to work on it, even more time to market it, even more time to perfect the strategy they want to have with this movie. So those are kind of my thoughts of everything that kind of has Dune. Again, I'm fully, everything that I've heard about this movie with giant sandworms, it sounds weird and out there, and everyone's after the spice. Everyone's after the spice. I'm on board for this movie. The only thing is the casual fan. It's very much the people with their monies. How are they going to vote? Are they going to vote for this movie? I don't know. Before we take another quick break, let's see here. Yeah, 1984, PG-13 was in the 80s, a lot harder to get R than no movie's gonna make monies. Yeah, Crunchy saying that no movie's gonna make monies. I thought you were referring to Fincher's film being box office competition, not award competition. Yeah, I don't know. Again, do you think that this will be a standalone film, or are they going to make it a series? Cassie, I know, again, I am very much a casual fan. I only know that there is a novel series, but if this movie, I know that that's how they're working this out. They're getting all of the pieces in the puzzle to make this the next big franchise for 10 years. I mean, they've tried to do that with everything. Every single movie, they're like, let's make a franchise out of this. But I really do think that this, if it makes a significant chunk of change, and it has decent ratings across the board via audience and critics. They are 100% making this into a franchise, and we'll just see. We'll be curious because, again, the MCU, they did their thing starting with Iron Man, and it kept going and going and going and going, and people wanted it. So if they make this first one and it grabs people, it really scratches that hard sci-fi itch. No doubt about it, they will definitely have at least a handful of films ready to go. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Dune and the images and everything like that. I don't know. It's just kind of, talking again. We're short on movie news, so that's just my thoughts on everything. But with that, I don't have any more Dune talk. I don't have anything else on here. So let's go to our second commercial break. Can you guess the movie poster? It's 1980s Flash Gordon. Now it's time for another top moment from the JBuck Avengers Endgame watch-along. That was the best moments from the JBuck Avengers Endgame watch-along. The platform ending explained poorly is currently playing on JBuck Studios. Or literally on them. Yeah, that happened. Just look. But once they gain any sort of power, those promises fall by the wayside.
By the wayside!
Oh yeah, here it comes. Here it comes. Ooh, I'm so hungry. All right, and we are back from commercial break number 2. Hopefully you guys are still with me, and again, there isn't much movie news, and also I didn't have time to really do a lot of sketches and pre-work this week, so some of the commercials are seen again, but I very much am going to have a lot more stuff next week. It was just kind of a weird time, plus I've been spending so much time playing Final Fantasy VII, which, again, if new people are in here, Final Fantasy VII, the remake, is absolutely bananas and awesome. Like, if you are any sort of Final Fantasy fan, you're going to love this film. But right now, we can use the last 13 minutes to just ask me anything. We can talk about whatever the heck we want in the chat. Yes, Cody is saying, holy crap, no pun intended, I have to see the platform now. Yeah, that is just a taste of the platform, and that is just a taste of my Ending Explained Poorly video. If you haven't seen one of my Ending Explained Poorly videos, go over to my channel and check those out. They are they take the traditional Ending Explained, and I put my own spin and stylings on it. But yeah, let's just kind of talk the last 15 minutes or so. A funny thing, there's a few funny things that I just ran across. If you need a good laugh, jump over to Google Images and just Google coughing stock image, because it looks like everyone is totally giving a ghost a blowjob. So if you need a good funny thing to look at, go and type in coughing stock image, because it looks like people are blowing ghosts in that. Tyler Tompkin, oh my gosh, I can't pronounce your name. Tyler in the chat. What's on? Thank you so much for making it, my man. Thank you so much. Another fun thing I discovered actually right before I went live tonight. Have any of you guys checked out Kevin James's YouTube channel? His videos sort of are getting more and more kind of recommended to me, but he does this funny, essentially, series. I haven't watched all of his videos, but he does this series of where it's them filming certain movies, and he's the sound guy holding up, the boom mic, and not only is it fairly good, but also, the way it's edited is so damn good. Type this into Google Images. Yeah, it's definitely always a trap. 21 and over, ending explained poorly. We need it. Tyler, I will add it to the list, that's for sure. You said you haven't seen Taxi Driver or Goodfellas. Is one of the other streams, or have you seen them, Neb? No, Dorito Chip a Gamer, thank you for joining. But no, I haven't seen either of those movies yet, but they are going to be added to a series on my podcast. My buddy Rob, he's been on a handful of my podcasts, and every time he's coming onto the podcast, he thought it'd be a fun idea we go and watch a movie we haven't seen. So this is actually tying into a coming soon video. We both sat down and we watched Dr. No, the 1962 first James Bond film. So that is coming out next week. But yes, Goodfellas and Taxi Driver will be added to that list because I haven't seen those. I know he has, and that'll definitely set up a good conversation with us. So yeah, I'll definitely be checking that out. We got Film Speak, Griff from Film Speak in the chat. What's going on, my man? Sounds like the quarantine has you checking out a lot of stuff. Video games, old movies that wouldn't have otherwise time for. Are you happy with that? Will your habits change going on? Cody, thank you so much for that question. I don't know. I know that the reason I was only watching a lot of like newer stuff and going to the movies is because content. It's like content for my channel. But this is it's nice. It's almost a time to relax. Again, like the last 2 days, the only thing I did today was prep the show, and which is very hobbled together, as some of you are maybe noticing. But I really want to almost get into that habit again of picking up a new game, going back and watching an old movie, almost making this not 24/7, because I know that I'm doing photoshops, writing, anything and everything so much. But yeah, I think this Final Fantasy VII kick is really changing my outlook, and also like going back and watching films I just missed, because like again, people that weren't here at the beginning of the show, I watched 2002's The Ring. I've never seen that movie. I watched it last night. Probably going to do an ending explained poorly for that, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I definitely would I would like this to kind of be like, I guess my thing is, I said on a podcast recently, I said that this quarantine thing is probably the best thing that's happened to me, because I have a lot less stress. I'm able to watch a lot more things. I'm able to sleeping, that's still my problem. I can't get any sleep at all. What happens when you type JBuck into Google Images? I don't know. Griff, do that and let me know. Send the link over. It's probably just myself doing some goofy video, or it's just someone taking a Blumpkin for sure. Favorite and least favorite Star Trek movie. My favorite, Star Trek 2009, the least, The Final Frontier. Dorito Chip Gamer. I'm not really a big Star Trek fan. I know I've watched the couple new ones that have come out, the essentially kind of rebooted ones, and I think the 2009 one, if that's the first one with Chris Pine and everything like that, I like that one. I very much am on board with that one. I know that the second one, Into Darkness, I believe, maybe I'm getting the titles mixed up, that one didn't land as much as I wanted the first one to. But then the third one, I've only seen bits and pieces of it, but I heard that one was fairly good. Let's see here. Actually, yeah. One thing, it's all Blumpkins, that's all you need to check, yeah. One thing I want to ask you guys in the chat, because I mentioned it at the beginning, but 2002, The Ring. I watched this movie, and it's been 18 years. I had heard about it years and years and years ago when I was a young teen, and it scared the crap out of me. I even remember the trailers scaring me. But has horror essentially had the same... Like, comedies, I feel like, have aged. There's a lot of things you can't do anymore. You can't say it's not funny, or it's just things have evolved. Do you think horror films have sort of done that too? Because, again, back in 2002, I was under the impression that The Ring and The Grudge and Saw, like those three, were some of the scariest movies ever. But now I watch them, and they're very campy. They're very goofy. They there was something about them at that time. But now I think about other horror films that I've gone and seen, and like Midsummer, I'm not going to watch Hereditary. Actually, I threw this idea out. I might do a Hereditary watch-along on my channel because I've never seen that movie, and I think it'd be really funny to do that sort of a watch-along. But do you think that horror has... I can't pronounce that. Horror. Hey, what do you think of horror? Horror has not really aged too well. There's obviously some of the stuff like the way back, the original kind of Halloween and stuff. It's basic, but there is a little bit of chilling things to that film. Do you think that like the early 2000s was 100% kind of like jump scare material, like everything was scary because it was loud noises and bumps in the night? Or do you think that everything has kind of gotten smarter with it? They don't rely on jump scares anymore. They're very much going into the essence and taking you into those things. Because I know that even the Conjuring films, those scared the bejesus out of me, man. Let's see here. What's in the chat? There's really bad CGI in The Ring too that is aged poorly. And see, that's the thing. Yeah, if there's CGI that hasn't aged well, it's just, it doesn't look great. And I think that might have been what the first Ring, maybe there was something about that where the girl crawling out of the TV during the day, like honestly, her crawling out of the TV in Scary Movie 3 was scarier than what I saw in The Ring last night. Horror has aged a big time. This is from Cody. Horror has aged a big time. Can't just jump scare. You have to completely fuck a person's soul. Yes, like Midsummer. Midsummer is, again, just a creepy, unsettling film. During the day, it's bright lights and everything, and an old woman touching someone's butt, forcing them into sex. I just did not like that at all. Daniel, you have a counterpoint. No, you think that just aging and growing into your sensibilities. I like that. Again, it could be that where I've just kind of experienced life, and now certain things like not getting fired and anxiety are horrifying to me, when in fact a girl coming out of a well and a VHS is not scary to me at all. Hereditary watch along sounds traumatizing. Yeah, I've only heard about that film, and I've seen like bits and pieces, like 10 seconds here or there, and I just don't know. I just don't know. Saw is hilarious until the dude cuts his foot off. Yeah, that freaked me out. I'm reading Dune, so it's fun to guess at which point the photos take place. Yeah. Dorito Chip Gamer, are you a big fan of reading Dune? Like, do you see how this could potentially be the next big sci-fi epic, or do you think that it's very much kind of like inside baseball, getting a little weird, getting a little, very much like it's sci-fi and you need to know all of the terms? I'd be curious on what you have to say. Fan Gesture says, new JBuck show, endings aged poorly. I might actually throw that as an idea. That's not a bad idea at all. I like that. You know what, Fan Gesture? I might take that idea. We're getting to the last few minutes of the show, so I kind of want to just say what is coming soon, what is coming to the JBuck Studios channel for the next week, and obviously JBuck Live right here every single week. And I was looking at the calendar, and next week is... the show is on 4/21, but obviously 4/20, man, happens the day before. So next week I might do the definitive ranking of Hot Pockets in order for that. Like, do a whole big 4/20 episode next week, like favorite stoner movies, and just kind of have fun with that. So that is more than likely what next week's show is going to be. But then other things outside of JBuck Live, I have Fan Gesture in the comments here. I have a podcast with him coming up in 2 weeks over on his channel. It's more of a show, live show, not a podcast. Then I have a podcast with Zach Pope and Ren Geekness next week for the Geeks of the Roundtable. Then I have a podcast with the Soko Show, Seth and Cody in the chat with them. I've been on their podcast for the last 3 weeks. So if you're looking for movie news, shenanigans, fun segments, very highly produced show, go over and check out the SoCo show, SOCO. It's on Apple Podcasts everywhere. Wonderful podcast, and they are so nice to let me come over because I always get it off the rails. So I met a guy at work whose birthday was 4/20/69. Holy shit, that guy is the coolest man ever. But yes, the SoCo show, I'm going to be on their podcast tomorrow, and then they also did a Patreon exclusive one with me that will more than likely be released tomorrow, and then obviously another podcast with my buddy talking about Dr. No on Monday. As for videos, there might be a couple Netflix movies I'm going to review this weekend. I think there was a Sergio movie and some other one. I don't know. I gotta look at my calendar. I don't have it with me. But then more than likely, in another ending explained poorly. If you guys want to see certain ending explained poorlies, let me know and I will add them to my list. I have probably like 25 on my list of options I can pick from. I'm probably going to do one for The Ring, 2002's The Ring, because I found a lot of funny things I could throw in there. So yeah, if you want to see me review any movies or ending explained poorly or anything like that, let me know. You can always send video, or not videos, you can always send me a tweet at me or send me messages on YouTube, anything like that. I'm actually thinking that there was a question on YouTube that I just completely forgot about. Someone asked about that. But yeah, Sergio has Ana de Armas in it, and that's all I need to know. Yes, 100% Tyler. That is why I'm going to watch that movie then. Thank you for letting me know about that. But yeah, everyone, I bet Arrival would be a good ending explained poorly. Oh my god. That is 100% getting added to the list because that could be like a 20-minute video right there. Wow. But no, that's kind of everything that's coming up on the channel. Again, everyone in the chat, everyone that stuck along, thank you so much. Also, in this weird time, hopefully this was able to distract you for an hour and also fill you in, get a good conversation. Again, we don't have much movie news, so it's very much kind of like trying to hobble together a show with not much content. So hopefully the quickies, those are fun, the segments and everything like that. But I think next week, depending on how much movie news we get, it's going to be a fun episode of just shenanigans and everything. So we will probably do the 420 episode, the 420 special episode like that. But anyways, guys, everyone that's out there, thank you so much for watching. Follow all of my social media stuff right there. My Patreon, you can just search for JBuck Studios. You get an exclusive movies and nonsense, and the one this month is ridiculous. We somehow were talking about Chris Farley that led to Blumpkins. So if you like either of those two things, check it out. You know, you get $2 and you get all the whole backlog of podcasts over there, which are very much I wouldn't say more racy, but they're very much more off the rails and fun. But that is it. Do an enemy ending explained poorly. I will definitely put that on the list. I have not seen Enemy, but I feel like it probably, if you're suggesting it, I will definitely check that out. But without further ado, everyone, thank you so much for watching this show. That is it. We're going to hit the outro, and we're going to be out of here. Anyways, though, have a good week. Stay safe, all that stuff. And play Final Fantasy VII Remake, because that game is the shit. Bye-bye. It's always awkward because I say bye, and then I have to click the button.